Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Cody Thompson, and I'm very lucky to be joined today with Will from Dynamic Support WA. Will, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Will, tell us about your business.
So we support young men with disabilities aged 13 to 25, and it's all about building the skills as we transition into adulthood. So first phase of it being 13 to 18, everyone's either going through school or they're over schooling age, and they're still just trying to figure out what life is, realistically, building the skills to be more independent in their life, to be able to socialize with people who they want to socialize with, and sometimes if they don't. And just like trying to figure out what they may want to do as they exit out into the real world and figure out what their purpose is.
Yeah, and it's a really scary time. Again, we've all gone through that phase and 100%. Is there many like providers or much support out there for that specific sort of demographic?
There's a few out there that sort of covers our, I suppose, niche.
Yeah.
But I think that the difference is for us is like we have a primary like objective to build those skills. If that makes sense. Like we really are very actively trying to get a lot of these young guys, whether it's through our specific group programs, to develop their social skills with people that they have skills, interests, and hobbies with. Or through our one-on-ones, really just trying to nail down how do I pay my bills? How do I, even clean my room and stuff like that. Where do I start with that when it all seems like a massive task?
Yeah, 100%. And what about for like you personally? Like, was there a moment or experience in your life that made you go, hey, like I see a need here. I want to, create this business. I want to help people in this space.
I think just growing up. Like, so when I was 13, I got diagnosed with scoliosis. And the curvature was way too far. For it to just like put a brace on, wait 18 months and it'd be all good. I had to go in and have surgery. And then from that got diagnosed with hypertension, which was from my aorta being too narrow. I forget the actual term for it.
It's not a medical podcast.
I know. Well, and then from that as well, they had a scan of my brain and found a possible aneurysm. So that was between 13 and 18 for me in particular. And that took like a lot out of me physically, mentally, emotionally. And I think I missed out on a lot of those skill building through school because my mum also owned a business at the time and I moved 18 times before I was 18. Something like that. So I think just giving back, providing like these young men with the skills to help transition them to where they want to go, I think is like my goal.
Yeah, I love that. Look, I mean, there's a lot to unpack, but I think that's such a big part of your life. And to hear that you had so much going on, like it's a credit to you and not you so much now, but like 13-year-old Will navigating that space because it would have taken a lot of, I guess, determination and grit, but also a lot of courage to be able to navigate that. Like such a challenging period time of your life for anybody, let alone someone like yourself that had so much on your plate, right?
100%. I think like during that 13 to 18 sort of phase where I was in and out of hospitals and medical appointments and stuff like that, you get told all like the negative stuff that could happen from having these operations or having these tests or whatever the diagnoses are. So it put me in a lot of like a negative headspace. And I think I kind of want to flip the script and say like, these are the positive things that you can do now to get to where you want to go rather than just talking about the negative the whole time.
Yeah, and I think that's, a big thing at the moment in the space. Like quite often there's too many people focusing on the negatives. There are so many great providers, yourselves included, that do so many great things to empower people to, like you said, flip the script and go, no, it's not about what I can't do. It's about what I can do. And I think, charging people to have that kind of mindset, like if we can change that perception, like that's just so powerful in itself. That's
100%. Sorry to interrupt. If like, I see it all the time with our young men particularly, and they come in, whether we start supporting them or we have for a while, and there's a lot of this, I can't do this because of my diagnosis, because of this certain situation happening in my life. And when we go through that process to mentor them in whatever skill that is, or whether it's just on their mindset in particular, to be like, you can do it. And we've just proven it.
Yeah.
It's like a big switch, and then that sort of creates this flywheel and this cycle of them being like, I do believe in myself to achieve whatever I have next.
Yeah, I love that. And do you have, and obviously don't have to share specific names and details, but like any cool, I feel like you'd have some great like success stories or things that are often happening. Like it's such a rewarding space to be working in. Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, probably the first one that comes to mind is one of a young guy I worked with before I actually started the business. He's with us now, but I was working as an independent support worker at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
And family friend, and her son had just year 9, I think he was at the time, and he just wasn't sure of like what life looked like after school. In fact, he didn't want to talk about it at all
Yeah.
because he was quite afraid of what it could be. But through just, at the time working out how to catch public transport and him gaining that confidence to just go into Midland at the time, and then talking about potentially what he would like to do as a career, super into Apple iPhones, super into like tech in and of itself, started up his little business,
Mhm.
which is fantastic, just helping people with their IT problems.
Yeah, cool.
And it's something that he like, you start talking about your phone, like a problem on it, or your computer, a problem on it, he'll be like straight there with you being like, oh, I know what to do. Like you just go do
I
this,
might
this,
need his
this, this.
details later.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one that really pops to mind. And I think like through our social programs as well, on the phone to a parent literally yesterday, being like, do you have another spot? He is getting so much out of it. He's learning a lot. And the one thing I learned yesterday, particularly from her, is that it's that incidental stuff that sort of isn't structured within our program. It's the conversations that he has with other young men his age of like what they're doing with their careers or in TAFE or in uni that open and expanded his mind to the potential possibilities, which is so cool.
Yeah.
I think it's just all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I feel like we all are guilty of this, right? But like, there's like a big problem that we're trying to solve, and we put all our time and attention to it. But we forget sometimes it's the little steps or milestones along the way that are sometimes equally, if not more important. Like in the first story you shared there about the guy starting his own business and stuff like that, it started from him being able to catch the bus, which then enables him to then start looking for a job, which enables him to get a job and stuff. So like, yes, it's great and absolutely celebrate the business part, but like even celebrating the small steps along the way. And I feel like there'd be a lot of that in the work that you and the team are doing is like, it's not just the big stuff. It's quite often, like you said, the little stuff it's almost more important.
I 100% agree. I think it's something that I am so guilty of all the time.
Yeah.
Just like from a business perspective,
Yeah.
or even just thinking about the goals that a young men want to achieve, is thinking about the big picture rather than all the little steps in between that get you there. Like analogy I give to my team is when you're working with someone on like that public transport training, the first week they may struggle to actually just get that card onto the card reader and get it to click and accept.
Yeah.
And then the next week, once you show them, you give them feedback, tell them to put it into the center of the actual card reader. And then they do that the next week, just really celebrating that occasion and being like, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's those small things that build the confidence to get to where they want to go.
100%. Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. You mentioned your team. Like, I feel like it'd be such a rewarding place to work, but also there's so many great support workers out there. You mentioned before you started independent support work. How do you go about selecting the right people to work for dynamic support?
It's a good question. Everything in our organization is around our values, and it's really trying to find a character fit first.
Yeah.
Because in my belief, everything else can be taught.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our 3 values that we have are authenticity, like we want you to be who you are. Teamwork, the ability to work as a team, whether it's in that one-on-one supports, bouncing off each other, that mentor and that young man, or as a bigger organization talking to each other.
Yeah.
And our last one is fun. Like we just want to have fun on the journey because like that's probably like one of the most important parts.
Big time.
We want to achieve those goals, but if we're not having fun doing it, what's the point?
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Look, I totally agree. And again, going back to those like smaller steps along the way, it's so much easier to celebrate them when you're having fun along the way. And I always think like, oh, I have such a bad memory. I forget things. But I always remember how I was made to feel. And I think that's like a really critical part to, again, having fun on everything else. Like it's quite hard. You know, there's always conversation, things happening. You're expected to retain so much. And I certainly struggle with that.
Yeah.
But I don't struggle with retaining how in that moment that other person made me feel. And I reckon there'd be a lot of that with your guys as well.
I think there is. I think there is. Like, even just thinking about the young guy I was talking about before who started that business, there's lots of stuff with him. He's funny. He does often struggle to express himself,
Yep.
I would say, but he gives it a damn good crack
Yeah.
when he really does feel something, and he does tell us, like, less telling us, more just like gives us a quick pat in the shoulder, and then to him is like, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I love that.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think it is the feeling that makes a difference. Like, it is hard to remember those moments. But you do remember how people made you feel, or how that moment made you feel.
Yeah, big time. Now, you mentioned your values. One of them, which is something that we really value as well, the DC, but like authenticity, like being who you are all the time, regardless. Like you said, rain, hail, or shine, this is who I am. Almost take me or leave me a little bit. I find that is in its like perfect, imperfect way, the disability sector. There are so many unique individuals out there, and I see it with obviously interacting with people with disability and participants, but also just with providers as well. And many of them are on the scheme in some capacity. But like, it leads me to believe like it's all about an inclusive environment. So I kind of want to know from your lens, from what you've seen and what you see on a regular basis, what does inclusion mean to you, and what does it mean to this industry?
I think it just means everyone's included. There's none of these like barriers, whether it's accessibility, whether it's the social barriers that we face. I think it's just like everyone is included in to do the things that they want to do. To put it simply. It's like, and I see a lot of the time, and I talk to a lot of our young guys about whether it's in school or out of school, in the workplace or community environments that they've been in. And there's been maybe one or two interactions, whether it's with specifically people or maybe just in the environment in itself where it has been accessible for them. If we're able to make those small changes in how we interact with people and changing, like having more accessible entrances and more accessible toilets and stuff like that, or having the option for them, it can make the world of difference because people can actually attend those events, meet people and develop those relationships and develop those skills further, and just be able to participate as part of the community together.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the work that you're doing is so important in that age group specifically. Like, I have 3 young kids and they started that age group. So my oldest is 13, my youngest is 4. And I know you work with a bit older, but like, this is the generation that will make change. Like, this is the generation that can have a significant impact, so that hopefully the generation behind them, like, inclusion almost isn't a thing because everybody just is included, if that kind of makes sense. Like, I think that's where we're getting to, and that's why like the work you're doing with this age group is so important, because they can knock out so many barriers. And again, there's been a lot of work prior to that generation that have done so much work. But I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like we're on a real cusp of something here, where like we're getting closer to, it's almost inclusion is just surrounding everybody, because it's no longer about people are left behind. Everybody's just involved.
Yeah, I think it is all changing. Like, you look at where AI is going in particular, like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, changes the game.
Big time.
Even just like these type of settings with content and stuff like that, getting to see people, see who they are. Talking about that authenticity piece. It's like you get to figure out who a person is before you can actually meet them.
Yeah.
And people can bring their own unique strengths, their unique interests, whether that's super niched. Like, I know a guy who's super, super into washing machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Love
But that provides value to the community and provides value to people. And that's becoming way more common to get that out there and way more accessible for people.
So there's a lot of change happening in the NDIS at the moment. Is your business being impacted by that, or are you guys through the changes now? Like, how does that look?
There's a few changes that are happening. Like, I've also talked about I forget the actual name of it. The Thriving Kids Initiative that's recently come out. There still isn't heaps of information about what's actually going to happen and how it's been implemented. But I've definitely had to have conversations with many of our parents and stakeholders to be what's going to happen with this. And to be honest with you, I don't really have the answers right now.
No one does, right?
Well, like I said to them, like, we're here to support you until something changes, and which we'll let you know. Like, we're just going to roll with the punches for this one. In terms of into the future, what could happen? I sort of take things day by day.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. I think lots of people in the sector try to anticipate these changes, and they try and either do something about it or they worry about it, which holds them back.
Yep.
Is what I see and what I hear.
Yeah.
And unless it's affecting me right now, I can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I just keep going with what my goals are and what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. Like, I see why the changes are announced and so far ahead to give people time to prepare. But like you said, there's not enough information or substance behind that change. So quite often people get paranoid, they get worried. And like I said, you and I, like many people don't have the information. So it almost causes unnecessary panic. I think right now the industry is kind of BAU, business as usual, like, until there is actually a substantial change or, a new policy that's implemented. Ultimately, it is just BAU, right?
That's just what are you meant to do.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, like I said, it's good to hear that you guys are navigating it as best as you can and supporting the families until there's more information. What about, I'll give you like a bit of a, I don't know, like a special hat here in the sense that you are leading the NDIS, right? I'm going to give you this power. You have the ability to make a change today that is going to shape the future. So don't worry about money, don't worry about funding, all that sort of stuff. Like, you're going to make one fundamental change to the scheme for the betterment of everybody involved. I know it's a big question, but what change would you make and what would be the benefit behind the change?
An increased level of education around the specific NDIS plans.
Yep.
And what they actually mean for the people who are on them or people who are reading them and trying to understand them.
Yeah.
I think it's the one thing that I deal with all the time for a lot of our young guys specifically, and sometimes even outside of our community, but people asking me, can you help me read the plan? Can you help me understand the plan? What can I use this for?
Yep.
It's, if there's an increased level of education, whether it's done by the NDIS or someone else to actually understand these plans for people who don't potentially have the access to support coordinators, plan managers, the people who actually understand what's going on, and make it simple and easy to understand, I think that would make a massive difference.
Yeah, big time. I find as well, like you mentioned before, like one of your core pillars is being like promoting fun and having fun. And that can be looked really dangerously upon in the NDA space because people naturally go, well, you can't have fun. That's taxpayer money or that sort of stuff. So I think that would like heighten the need for education even more because again, it's what are the steps behind that? What's the information behind that? Well, actually, no, we're building capacity here. We're helping these people learn this. And absolutely, they should have fun along the way. But I can imagine that'd be a big question, or at least some of the, concerns people would have around it, and the need for education would be so important.
I agree. Yeah, I think the need for fun, just to go to that point in particular, I think like we talked about before, like we remember feelings or how people made me feel.
Yep.
And it's like it's in those moments where potentially like the best learning can be done. Yeah, that need for education in particular, I think would help heaps of people to really understand how they can use the NDIS plan, how they can help, specifically if I'm talking about us, they're young dudes, to really get to where they want to go, or anyone else on the scheme, because currently people have that roadblock of reading a line item or reading a actual category and being like, I don't actually know what this can be used for.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Okay. Well, we're going to change it up now. I've come prepared. I have what we call the Sharp 7, which is 7 questions, and I love the elaboration. We've talked in detail about certain things. I want us to keep this a little bit shorter and sharper, around 7 things. So you ready?
Yep.
Right,
let's go.
Let's do it. First one, I say, is an easy one because it's a one-word answer. Okay, just this one. But what's one word that describes the state of the NDIS today?
Helpful.
Yeah, love that. All right, second one. What's the biggest challenge you see right now in the sector?
Positivity. Just there needs to be an increased level of positivity around what is actually happening through the NDIS plans, because there's so many providers, you guys who are doing so many positive things, and if there's an increased level of that, hopefully it'll allow people to be motivated to get to where they want to go.
Love that. Look, I could not agree more. I think there needs to be more on the good stuff and scrap all this bad stuff. But anyway, you're right on the mark there. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Helping people.
Yeah.
Like I think helping our mentors to become better mentors, to help our young men and then helping young men, whether that's creating free resources, working with them one-on-one within our group programs, or just being there to just have fun with them and play those board games and do those structured activities and stuff like that, and see the reaction on their faces. Like, to see that it's actually making a difference is massive.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah. And I can see the passion that you speak with. And I love about that answer is, like, you mentioned participants obviously as well, but you mentioned the mentors. And I think that, like, knowing you a little bit now, like, that's really speaks to the character of you and the business that you've created. Is it's about everybody involved. So the people that provide the support, not just the people that need the support. So I think that's really important. So that's cool. All right. This is more about, like, you specifically as Will, the business owner. What's the best advice you've ever received as a business owner?
Keep it simple.
Okay.
I think in business in particular, there's so many things to learn and overcomplicate in all the operations of business. But, like, if you can keep it simple and you can keep it something you can understand, you can actually make a change if you need to.
Yeah, cool. All right. What's a hobby or interest that people don't know about Will? Like, let's peer behind the curtain a little bit. What's something about you that not many people know?
I'm so boring.
I don't know about that.
I'm so boring.
Well, you mentioned you go to the gym a lot before.
Yeah, I do go to the gym.
I'm sure everybody can see that compared, your body physique versus mine. So you spend a bit of time in the gym?
I do spend a bit of time in the gym. I've been less so lately. But I suppose, like, for me, it's like learning about really niched things. Okay. Like, I spend a lot of time on podcasts. Yep. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. Whenever something comes to my mind or someone talks about something, whether it's like meditation, something I've been looking at recently, just like the effects of that and how you can get into different states of mind and everything like that. Just think it's super fascinating and interesting. And then usually if I get to the stage where I feel like I know enough, I'll give it a go.
Yeah, cool.
So I just like learning new things.
Yeah, love that. All right, nice. And to finish off, question 7, how do you define community?
I think it's just people come together and they're there to all help each other. They're there to, like, be there when you're down and they can bring you back up. Like, I think just everyone helping each other.
If our listeners could take away one message or theme from our chat today, what would you like to leave them with?
If you think something is impossible, there's always a way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what your goal is, what you're trying to achieve, how big, how small. There's always a way. It's just problem solving and finding that creative solution for you.
Yeah, big time. And I think it traces back, like we said, how do we start and get to the end goal, which is the big problem, but it's the small steps along the way, right?
100%.
Love that. Well, Will, it's been fantastic having you join us here today. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I know you're a very busy man, and we look forward to having you on the show in a year's time, and we'll see how things are going.
100%. I'm pumped. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Will.